Okay, so let's go over this assessment that we had. Remembering that the hard ones, I think, were 13, 14, 15, and maybe 16 and 20. So these are relatively the easier ones that the majority of the students got correct. Our first step is always to get rid of these double signs. Because there is nothing that needs to be simplified inside of these parentheses, we are able to combine those double signs. So we're going to rewrite it straight out, because a positive and a negative make a negative, and a positive and a negative make a negative. So now we're going to just do this left to right. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. We'll rewrite the problem. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10. Same thing with number 2. We're going to combine those double signs, and we're able to do that because there are no operations inside of these parentheses. If there were things that I had that I needed to simplify inside there, I would not be able to combine those signs. So this equation now becomes, this expression now becomes 7 minus 6 plus 2 plus 3. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 3 is 6. And we will also remember that these notes will be also posted, that you can utilize this video, or you can just utilize the key that I will submit. Now we have, notice it says find each product. So our direction even hints to what this problem is focusing on. This is multiplication. Even though there are signs, it is multiplication between those two. So this is not addition and subtraction. This says 2 times negative 5 times 4 times negative 2. So I'm going to do that left to right. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Rewrite the rest of it. Now I have negative 10 times 4, which is negative 40. Not sure why my pen isn't. Come on. And negative 40 times negative 2 is positive 80. Same thing with number 6. We have 2 times 3 times negative 4 times negative 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Positive 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. Negative 24 times negative 1 is positive 24. Because everything is multiplication. That was not good. I don't know why that didn't move. Let's see if it'll move now. There we go. All right, number 7. Now we have multiplication between these. Again, they don't have parentheses, but we have multiplication signs. It says 2 times negative 1 times negative 1 times 6. So we'll do it left to right. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. 2 times 6 is 12. Number 8 is very similar. We have 3 times 6 times negative 5 times negative 1. 3 times 6 is 18 times negative 1 negative 5 times negative 1. We'll do 18 times negative 5. I don't know that off the top of my head. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 4 is 9. So that gives me negative 90 times negative 1. Negative 90 times negative 1 is positive 90. And let's do the last two on this page. It says find each quotient. Quotient means division. So we have 0 divided by negative 7, which is 0. Anytime 0 is in the numerator and you have a non-zero number in the denominator, your answer will be 0. We have to be careful when 0 is in the denominator. When 0 is in the denominator, then your solution is going to be no solution. There's a big difference between 0 and no solution. 0 is a solution. 0. No solution means there is no number. That is not a number. Number 10 was pretty easy. 15 divided by -3 is -5. A positive divided by a negative is always going to be a negative. Number 11. Here we stay with the division. 40 divided by -4. A positive divided by a negative is always going to give me a negative. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So my answer is -10. This one we have a negative divided by a negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive, and then I just do the number part. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Now, the bane of our existence, why we are here. So 13, 14, 15, and 16 gave the majority of the students an issue. So let's look at this logically. We have addition, we have multiplication, we have subtraction, and we have division. Addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. What are we going to do first? Grouping symbols, there are no grouping symbols. Exponents, there are no exponents. Multiplication and division. Well, we have multiplication and division. So what are we going to do? When we have multiplication, division the same, we're going to do it left to right. So we're going to do this multiplication first. So we'll rewrite everything. 2 times 4 is 8, minus 8 divided by -4. So now what do we have? We have addition, subtraction, and division. What are we going to do? Well, we forgot this, addition, subtraction. We're going to do division before any addition and subtraction. So we're going to do the division. What are we dividing? We are dividing -8 divided by -4. Oh, but Mr. Mack, you told me that negative was a subtraction. It is. When you read it, it's subtraction. But it also is attached to the 8, so we have to continue to, it needs to stay. That's a -8. So -8 divided by -4 is +2. So we get 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 2. And now it's pretty straightforward. 7 plus 8 plus 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 2 gives me 17. So that was a place that a lot of students tended to make their big mistakes. Let's look at number 14. Again, we have multiplication, we have grouping symbols, and inside the grouping symbols we have double signs, we have subtraction, we have another set of grouping symbols where we have division and subtraction. So multiplication, technically we have, we'll call this subtraction. We'll call that one subtraction. We have grouping symbols, we have subtraction, we have division, and we have another set of grouping symbols. So if we look at our orders of operations, we have to do grouping symbols. We have 2 grouping symbols. We're going to do the one to the left first. So we're going to do what's inside there. We have the double signs. So let's simplify those double signs. And that ends up being, I'm marking green, so 5 plus 1 minus -5 minus -3 divided by -1. We have still our grouping symbols. We haven't simplified what's inside there. So we're going to continue to simplify all of the operations inside the grouping symbols. 5 plus 1 is 6. Minus -5 minus -3 divided by -1. So we've now simplified. These parentheses right here are not grouping symbols anymore. It's showing multiplication. So we have multiplication, we have subtraction, we have a grouping symbol, we have subtraction, and we have division. So what are we going to do first? Well, we still have grouping symbols, and we're going to do what's inside the grouping symbols. So we have a subtraction and a division. What are we going to do first? Are we going to do subtraction or division? We're going to do division. What are we dividing? We're dividing -3 by -1, which gives me a +3. But notice that that is the quotient of these two. That did not include this negative. So if we're going to write our solution, or our next line, it's going to be 4 times 6 minus -5 minus, that's this one right here, this left one, this one right here, and then -3 divided by 1 is +2. Excuse me, +3, 3 divided by 1. Right? -3 divided by -1 is +3. So this yellow part right here, this quotient ends up being the 3. This negative here ends up being this negative. And now we still haven't simplified inside the grouping symbol, so we have 4 times 6 minus -5 minus 3 is -8. We have multiplication. Technically, we have multiplication here also. We have double signs. But we'll do the multiplication to the left. So we get 4 times 6 is 24 minus -8. We've got double signs. Let's get rid of those double signs. 24 plus 8 gives me 32. Real good problem. Gave a lot of people fits and little mistakes. All right, number 15. So we have addition, we have a grouping symbol, we have multiplication, subtraction, and grouping symbol. So addition, grouping, multiplication, subtraction, grouping. So inside the grouping, we're going to do the one on the left first. -3 minus 2 is -5 times 4 minus, and let's do the other grouping symbol. -6 plus 3 is -3. So we have multiplication. We've got these double signs. So we can do 3. -5 times 4 is -20. And we've got those double signs that we can also get rid of. And that's going to be +3. A lot of students went here and just wrote 20. Saw multiple people do that. And that is not taking the time to do the steps. The next problem is 3 minus 20, which is -17. And -17 plus 3 gives us -14. A lot of students thought that the 3's would cancel, but you notice that this is a +3 and this is a +3. Those would not cancel at all. And even if they did, it wouldn't give you +20 because this 20 is negative. So that's why you wouldn't want to do that problem in that manner. You would just take your time and do the problems one step at a time. Let's look at 16. We have a grouping symbol here that we have to simplify first. -6 plus 1 is -5, and it's multiplying 2 in the numerator. And then the denominator, we have -6 plus 5 plus 6. -6 plus 5 is -1. And now let's simplify the numerator. -5 times 2 is -10. And -1 plus 6 is 5. We cannot leave a fraction like that. This is not simplified. You can't leave a fraction like that. We have to put it in lowest terms. So -10 over 5 can be simplified to -2, which would be our answer. At this point, the majority of you did an excellent job of distributing. Some of you didn't show your work, but and we have to be careful about that. What are we distributing? We're distributing in -2 to b in -4. So this is where a lot of students made a mistake. They wrote the -2, but they didn't include the negative with the 4. So make sure that you include that negative. The 4 is negative, so you're distributing it to -4. We're distributing in -2, so we need to see the -2 there. So -2 times b is -2b. -2 times -4 is +8. Takes 2 seconds to write that line, this line right here. we should do it. Don't look to cut corners already. It's only week 2. So we have 4 times the 7v plus 4 times negative 10. I saw students forget to put the sign here. If you don't put the sign there, and it looks like this, you write this, you're telling me that you're multiplying all this. That shows multiplication, and that's not the case. We are not multiplying everything. We are multiplying this times this and this times this, but we are adding the 2 terms. We have 2 terms here, 7v and negative 10. So this would produce 28v minus 40. And the last 2 problems is negative 5 times negative 10x minus 5 times negative 4. We get 50x plus 20. A lot of you got that right. And this one was somewhat tricky. It is remembering if you remembered about standard form. So we're distributing 3 times negative 7 plus 3 times negative 2r. Remember what we're distributing, a positive 3, so I should see that positive 3 being distributed. I'm distributing it to negative 7, and I'm distributing it to negative 2r. Don't forget that negative in front of the 2r. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. 3 times negative 2r is negative 6r. Now, we have to remember to put it in standard form. We talked about it. It was on the assessment. So we can't leave this. Standard form says variables must come before constants. What are the 2 terms here? I had students write it incorrectly. It's a negative 21 and a negative 6r. So if we write the variable first, that negative has to go with the variable. And if we write the constant second, that negative has to go with the constant. Hopefully that helps. Good luck on the reassessment. Make sure that you get your practice in and address those issues.